The Charlie Rich Archive presents The Last Known Interview with Charlie Rich, 1994, courtesy of Jim Newcombe. A Night with the Silver Fox, Charlie Rich. Jim Newcombe was a man on a mission to meet Charlie Rich, and he got there eventually. Here he recalls his quest and unearths a 1994 interview from A Night with the Silver Fox. Part 2.
Nashville, of course, was different, but Charlie told me he liked the way everything was so close down on 16th Avenue, where you could walk from the studio to a publisher, any other office. That was good to have input from people as you go through your session. Elvis? Surely Charlie had met him sometime? What about coping with fame?
He was such a groovy, nice guy. He had a thing with a style. There's no doubt about it. We came home from the Air Force one time to my wife's folks in Forest City, Arkansas, and he was playing across the street in a civic center. My wife's little brother said, "Y'all come on, we're going to go hear Elvis Presley tonight." It was when he and Scotty and Bill Black were just playing little things around here. But of course, we were tired. We'd just driven in from Enid, Oklahoma. We didn't know that in the next year or two, Elvis was going to be the big thing in pop music, so we didn't go. That's when I really would have liked to have seen him. Those were the exciting days. I think I had enough popularity, so to speak, to know how the pressure was on Elvis. He had the people he had to have, and they were the only people he did have. The only time we were close was during one of his New Year's Eve party we went to. He and Priscilla hadn't been married too long. We talked a little bit. I met him a couple of times. We ran into each other at the football games when the Grizzlies were playing here, and they were trying to get a pro team together. Guys I know were closer to him because they did the athletic stuff with him. I saw him one time at the fairgrounds just carrying a bunch of kids around, leading them to the rides and stuff. He was just a gentleman every time I saw him.
Elvis recorded a rich song, "I'm Coming Home," and he couldn't remember how it got to Elvis. Carl Mann, who I know quite well, told me he hired Charlie to play piano on some sessions at the New Sun studio. Carl recorded "I'm Coming Home," and as Elvis sometimes dropped by, it's likely he heard it at the studio or Sam gave him a copy of Carl Mann's record. When Charlie went to RCA, the sound became much closer to Elvis than he had been at Sun. These are some of my favorite Rich recordings, and even though the use of big vocal group backing sound a little dated, now Charlie's vocals are spot on. There are rockers like The Driving Big Boss Man, sad drinking songs Mountain Dew, and songs with different rhythms like No Room to Dance and She Loved Everybody But Me.
Well, I think on certain things, probably even certain songs we wrote, they were just Elvis-type songs, and probably at the time I was experimenting to see if I didn't want to do an exact copy, even if I could have done. But it was a type of the deal where if you could write a song and get him to cut it, then you knew it was going to be a national seller.
The RCA Recordings?
I think during my whole career in this business, we've tried to do some things that were maybe different than the norm that would be expected. And I don't know that that is always a good thing. It may be better to stick to one particular thing. I don't know. A lot of the times we pick stuff like River Stay Away From My Door, which was just something I liked.
After RCA, Charlie moved to Smash and recorded another hit, Mohair Sam. This and another batch of great Dallas Frazier songs made up its first album, and Tom Jones, who had picked up a couple hits from Jerry Lee LP's cut, Dance of Love, that was on Charlie's Smash album.
Mohair Sam did pretty well for us. The follow-ups, I don't know. It seemed we were on Smash for such a short time. But we did a lot of recordings with Jerry Kennedy. Tom Jones sold 1 million on that album. The last time he was in Memphis, Sam and Knox and myself and my wife and some of our friends, we went out to see Tom Jones. He had a big band and put on a good show. That was the first time I met him, but He did the song years before that.
On Smash, he did some very different songs, such as Double Dog Dare Me, a real rocker, Hang Jaw, another phrase of novelty, and the sad, emotional No Home. I always loved A Field of Yellow Daisies from that time, a wonderful song from Margaret Ann.
That's kind of what I mean as far as trying different things. A lot of times, as far as trying to promote different things, you look back and see your mistakes. I think I enjoyed working with Jerry Kennedy. Ray Stevens did a lot of our arranging and stuff, but Jerry Kennedy was the actual producer, and he pretty much gave us a free hand to pick and choose what we wanted to do. We had some good musicians to work with and cut most of that album at Sam Phillips' old studio in Nashville.
Somehow the song Summertime was mentioned, and Charlie sat at the piano and sang a few bars. Al Holcomb just sat around listening most of the time. Charlie had some comments to add after this.
Summertime, we did that on a show we played down at Billy Bob's, and the girl who booked the show said, "You're not going to do Summertime again, are you?" I said, "What do you want me to do?" "I just do what I feel like doing at the time." She said, "They probably want more country." Then that course, I thought she was screwed up anyway. I tell you, one thing that was really a thrill for me, we played down there in Austin at a show, a year or so ago, and they were doing the cowboy dances with the hats and the whole bit, and we did a lot of different type things, the different blues things, and they liked it. This one guy said, "I'm really interested in the blues." He wanted to go down and hear some black blues singers.
His next move was to High Records, and although they put out some vastly different singles, there was an LP that had Charlie singing Hank Williams songs, but in a very studied way that made me think they were looking at the way Ray Charles had done country songs.
I know what you are talking about, because there were a lot of people trying different things in country music at the time, probably because he's been successful at everything he's done. We liked the stuff Ray Charles was doing. I like to do things that are different, even on our shows and stuff. A lot of times we don't know if we are pleasing the crowd or not, if they are expecting us to do all country and no blues, no River Stay Away, no Who Will the Next Fool Be. We can't sit and do Behind Closed Doors and Most Beautiful Girl all night. I try and make it interesting for the people